Good day to the viewer. This is Freddie Vernon, the Quality Assurance and Technical Manager with Standard Brands. This is going to be the first in a series of 3 short video demonstrations. The aim of these tests are to show visually the performance of 3 separate fuels, namely hexamine, solid alcohol and the ZIP military fuel, with their respective stove combinations. The hexamine fuel will be tested, as you can see in the picture, with the Tommy burner. The solid alcohol product will be tested in the BCB burner, and the ZIP military fuel will be tested with the recently developed pyramid stove. And the aim, as we say, is to monitor their performance. The soldier's cup you see sitting on the stove contains 500 mils or 500 grams of water, and we'll be monitoring the temperature rise of the water versus time over a 20-minute period. What we will produce at the end then is one video showing all 3 tests, and we will produce a chart which clearly will show the performance of each combination on the one chart. So without further ado, I'm going to start off the first test. And this is the hexamine fuel here, 126 gram block, came from this packet. Fuel is placed, as you see, in that area of the Tommy burner stove, and I'm going to now proceed and ignite and start the clock once the fuel is lit. And start the clock. Oops. Clock doesn't want to stand up. There we go. Just going to zoom in slightly there so you can see the temperature and time a little better. We're just at 2 minutes into this first video test, and the temperature has just crossed 32 degrees C. As you can see, there are a lot of extraneous flames coming from the fuel tube. The flame is actually quite visible. in the interests of brevity, we'll stop the video there and just come back in a couple of minutes a little further into the test. Well, we're just coming up towards 5 minutes into the test. I've had to move the temperature probe slightly just to literally stop it from burning from the extraneous flame coming from the fuel, which, as you can see, is actually burning down underneath the fuel holding area. Temperature at the moment is about 61 degrees. We're just coming up on 7 minutes now, and as you can see, we still have a lot of extraneous flame from the Hexamine tablet. Our temperature at the moment is just about hitting 80 degrees. We're just past the 8.5 minute mark, and you can see how the Hexamine fuel is coming towards the end of its burn. Temperature is 93 degrees, and you can see how the fuel has fallen through the actual grid for holding it, and I'm sure in a situation, an outdoor situation like that, that is going to actually burn the grass or vegetation that would be underneath wherever the soldier sets up this this stove and cup mechanism. As you can see, we're just about burned out there, coming up on 9 minutes 20 seconds, and our temperature is just about hitting 95 degrees. So what you'll see now is the temperature will start to fall back. We haven't achieved boil. We will continue just to take temperature readings on the minute in order to chart all three temperature readings on one graph. Ending this section 1, or video 1, part 1 of the 3, and we'll continue on with the second combination. Okay, this is the second test in this 3-test series of videos. What we have here is the BCB stove, and we'll be using one of the BCB solid alcohol cubes. Everything is set up, and we'll do as we did before. We'll monitor the temperature over time and use that data to produce our chart at the end. This is how this solid alcohol is presented. As you can see, in this it's a plastic tub with a foil covering. I've already taken the fuel out and popped it in the stove, so I'm just going to put the stove on top now, or the cup on top, and proceed to light the fuel, and off we go. There we go. And start the clock, which still wants to fall over. Oops. just coming up on 2 minutes into this test. The temperature is just heading up to 35 degrees. We'll just take a break there and come back in a couple of minutes. We're just coming up to 5 minutes into this test now. Temperature is 71 degrees, and as you can see, quite a lot of extraneous flame from the solid alcohol fuel. Nonetheless, this is slightly faster than the hexamine at this point, and we'll come back again in a couple of minutes. Actually, just coming back now, just over 6 minutes, and as you can see, the alcohol fuel has extinguished at this stage. Very short burn time. Our temperature is just over 86 degrees. Perhaps might make 87, yes. And I think we'll find it will decrease from this point onwards. Once again, we'll take the temperature recordings up to the 20-minute mark. This ends the second video. We will move on to the third and final video, the Zip military fuel and the pyramid stove. And this is the third video in our demonstration of 3 videos and the 3 stoves and fuels. This particular test involves the Zip military fuel and the Boilex pyramid stove. As you can see, I've set it up there in the burning chamber. Slightly different with this one, as I've used some sand to recreate the recommended usage instructions, where the stove should be placed on some earth and slightly pushed down, just to ensure that no extraneous air is allowed to get into the system. So without further ado, I'm going to proceed to light the fuel. We'll be waiting 30 to 60 seconds just to let the wrapper burn off, again as per usage instructions, before placing the cup with the 500 mils of water on top of the stove. We will of course record temperatures over every 1 minute interval. Here's our Zip military fuel cube, which I'm placing in the stove now. Looks to have reached a point, so we put the stove on top now. There we go. And start the clock at this point. just at the 1 minute mark now. Temperature just coming up on 31 degrees. As you can see, very little what you would term visible flame in this system. I'm just going to zoom in just a little so you can see the licks of blue flame just around the bottom of the cup, and this is exactly what we would expect. Just coming up on the 2 minute mark, and temperature 42 degrees. Take a little break and come back in a couple of minutes. We're just approaching the 5 minute mark, there we are, and temperature 68 degrees. We're just at the 7.5 minute mark at this stage into this test. Temperature is 86 degrees. We're just approaching 10 minutes now, and the temperature is 98 degrees and fast approaching boil. And there we are, 10.5 minutes, and we are at rolling boil at this stage. Just checking in again, 13 minutes, temperature 102 degrees, well, over 100 degrees, still boiling strong at this point. I'm just coming up on 16 minutes now, and as you can see, the system is still boiling, and has been from 10.5 minutes. Well, we're just coming up to the end of this video. We're just approaching 20 minutes now into the test. As you can see, we are still actually boiling the water, and the fuel is still burning in the stove. I think this video shows very clearly how more efficient this fuel and stove combination is when the same test is carried out between this and the previous two tests. Well, let's end it there. Thank you.